bills from T&M since April timeframe, that probably generated, when we questioned T&M at the last meeting, Donna, probably in the neighborhood of $57,000 have been generated for work on the turf field at the swim club. So you can kind of understand kind of where I'm coming from.
Absolutely.
We didn't, you know, when we did when I worked with you on the rec center, we did a resolution not to exceed number.
Correct.
And it seemed normal process that we follow that. But,
Yeah, and that's what would have happened with this.
So you can probably sense the concern of like, how does something like this, how do we spend so much money without the township committee at least knowing about it and approving it to say, yes, this is a great project, we should move forward, or, you know, do we have the money, can we afford it this year, or does this trump all the other HYA projects that we that HYA has been asking for? So, and I think that would have been a decision that I would like to have been part of, to decide, you know, and talk to people and say, you know, what do you want? What's most important to you now? And because $2.5 million is a lot of money, and it's generally we spend on roads every year to try to get our roads back in shape, and you just want to be, you know, try to be fair and consistent. So. I guess there's an email number 42, 43, 44, where back on April 5th, I think it came from Commitment Critelli, Commitment Hines, where there was a conversation between one of the heads of the girls softball in town, and evidently spoke to Victor regarding the improvements of softball, and then there was a question on, he says, the mayor keeps asking about HY giving money for softball. He said that the mayor needs to be reminded that the softball commissioners came to every meeting for a full year to show their support for this bond issue. With the softball moms and young girls that came out, more than anybody pushes over the top. Yet he keeps inquiring about softball pitching and money. So, you were involved in that conversation all, Don, about requiring
No.
softball to help pay for any of the lanyard work?
No.
45, dated April 9th. I guess this is the schedule that Jason from TNM put together, kicking the project off, and then having the project done by August 1st, and then the list of the work that was in the milestones that he created for the work. So shortly thereafter, there was a email on the 10th to alert the vendors of the hold status, and then the project has been idle since then. So,
Yes.
so I guess the kind of summary is during the process, right? I didn't get the sense that there was much communication out. I'll speak for myself about knowing about the project, knowing about options, you know, for the bonding of the money, and I find it a little concerning that I wouldn't be involved in those decisions, since we had only last year you looked at that site for a possible recreation center, and then it dawned on me, and I said, you know, if we had Mazer do some work for us already, there, right? And I'm not an expert in engineering, but could any of the work that Mazer had done for us, could any of that have been reused? Because I asked Victor that, and Victor said he wasn't aware that Mazer did any work for us the prior year on the rec center. So he said, I don't know. If I knew, I would have reached out to him. Because I said, maybe, we could have saved money in the process because we had an engineering firm out there looking at, it's only so much land we have out there. It's not like, we have a lot to choose from. It's kind of probably the same area we were looking at before. So, I looked and I said, it probably would have made financial sense to reach out to the Mazer team and say, hey, we're looking at this project. Is there anything that you could do? Because the one rec building that we did look at, I remember them saying that it has the possibility to roll turf out, for some parts of the year, so you can actually use it for like an indoor turf facility. So it could really be a multi-purpose basketball, practice indoor soccer, baseball, whatever out there. And I said, I was wondering, did that ever come into discussion, Don, about reaching out to those guys?
No, like I said, all T&M was doing the survey and plopping the field down. That was all, my understanding was they were doing. And if you note on that email you alluded to, Greg, 0045,
yep.
That was sent on the night of the meeting at 6:30. So I don't even remember even seeing that until after the field never happened. So, I don't know. I can't speak for them.
Yeah, no, it just
I agree with your point.
If we had no bills, I wouldn't have any money to spend. I wouldn't have to approve things on the bills payable. But when you start spending the money, and the project has merit. It certainly does, and it's potentially good use, or potentially good use of indoor, outdoor there. I thought the site was great because of some of the facilities that are there, and there are things that can work in conjunction. But not knowing about any of this project was a little bit of a concern, especially since we've had a good work relationship and a precedent about doing resolutions before and adopting it properly.
And it would have been done had we had the meeting, and as you know, myself, I've always tried to manage the T&M bills. I think you would all agree that I've been very diligent in cutting their costs and making sure that they're not charging the taxpayers too much, and that was part of the reason why we moved them from doing the road program. So when I saw the 2.4 quote in this, would have been my recommendation that evening if we had the meeting to not use them to do the project and to go through the co-op. Because and Victor, at that time, I can't speak for him, but he and I had several conversations that it was just incredibly high cost.
Yeah, and we probably could have saved some taxpayer money having discussions along the way as this thing evolved to see where we were at in terms of.
Well, there shouldn't have been any cost that T&M incurred. It was part of their general engineering. They were never approved. What they did or did not do, I don't know, but they were never approved to spend this $56,000 that you see before you. They were never approved to do that. You guys would have had to approve that.
Yeah, the bills that have come in, Donna, have specifically stated turf work at the swim club for their services.
Okay.
So you weren't aware of that, obviously?
No, I was not,
Okay.
sorry.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Pascucci.
Hey Donna, how are you? Do you need a break?
No, doctor,
You
I'm
sure?
good, thank you.
Can I call you Donna, or you prefer business?
Call me anything you like.
No, I wouldn't do that. A quick little opening statement from me, okay? $2.1 million was placed on the consent agenda. There was no resolution. It was placed on bills payable over $3,500. That's what I got in my packet. Concerned me. I pulled the bill from T&M for $31,000 for work at the swim club. Didn't know anything about it. Who's going to pay that bill? That still concerns me. T&M is saying you ordered him to do work. Victor is saying you ordered them to do work. I got to find out what's going on here. I got a bill that I got to pay. This is not political. It's quite irregular what happened here. I've been on the township committee, it's my third term. This is quite irregular. I'm concerned about the process. I'm not concerned about political. I did not know things were going on, and it upsets me because it takes away my rights as a committeeman and the rights of the people who voted for me. Okay? That's why I'm so concerned. It's not political. I'm not out to get you. I'm not out to get Eric. I got to figure out about these bills. So So can I hit you with some questions?
Absolutely, that's why I'm here.
I'd like to break them into 4 sections to make it easier for me. The Victor Stevens phase, the T&M phase, the placing the 2.1 on the agenda phase, and after the April 9th meeting phase. Donna, did you communicate or inform me in any way about work that Victor Stevens was doing up at the swim club?
I don't recall.
Did you communicate with Greg?
I don't recall.
Did you communicate with Eric?
Yes,
Did you communicate with Mike?
I believe so, I don't recall.
Tom?
Yes,
Okay. Did you communicate with me at any time about the work being done by T&M up at the swim club?
what work?
I got bills, so evidently they did work there.
I wasn't aware of anything other than a survey.
So you weren't aware of any of those bills?
That's not fair.
That's a question of fact.
Well, I think that you just misstated her answer. We can't hear you.
Were you?
I was not aware of any bills from T&M, no.
Did you those bills, sorry, let me just regroup here. So you didn't inform me of those bills?
I would never inform the committee about bills. They're on the bill list. I don't know what you mean by inform the committee.
There was a substantial bill from T&M that was going to become due, and I knew nothing about any of the work there. Did you ever inform me about work being done by T&M at the swim club?
No,
Did you inform Greg?
no.
Did you inform Eric?
Eric was aware of it, yes.
Mike
I believe we had conversations. I don't-
and Tom?
Yes.
On putting the 2.1 on the agenda, did you inform me before that date that that was going to be placed on the agenda?
So it was not my, in the 6 or 7 years I was here, I did not specifically reach out to individual committee members and advise them what was on the agenda. The agenda was sent to everyone the Friday before, and that's how the committee knew about it. So I would never normally pick up the phone and say, hey, doctor, we're putting stuff on the agenda, unless you would call me and say what's on the agenda, and then I would tell you.
But fine, but did you inform me of 2.1 million on a consent agenda?
No,
Did you inform Mr. Bontempo?
no,
Did you inform Mr. Hines?
no,
Mike?
no,
Tom?
no.
Did you have a meeting with me subsequently after that meeting of April 9th, when you came up to me and asked me why I was so upset? Did we have such a meeting?
We spoke about, well, you were not at the meeting that night, if I recall.
Yes.
Yes, so at some time we did discuss it, yes.
Did you tell me that you had nothing to do with putting 2.1 million on the agenda?
Yes,
Did you tell me that Wendy and Mr. Hines did?
I don't think I would have said it that way, but,
Can you tell me what you would have said?
so as I said earlier, the way agenda is set, department heads submit information to Wendy to be placed on the agenda. So Eric doesn't put something on the agenda unless he tells Wendy, I want this on the agenda. The reason why it went on the agenda on that date is because all the information was already together. And it went on the agenda for the committee to discuss and decide what to do. It wasn't on the agenda already a done deal. Fran was here to make a presentation that night.
Again, Donna, what was your response to me? Do you recall? I recall clearly, and we'll take an oath to it or an lie detector.
Okay, and Rocco, I don't know if I said Wendy, and maybe because Eric at that point would have been the department head that placed it on the agenda.
So how would it have got on the agenda then otherwise?
I have to,
I need to know how an agenda item got placed on the April 9th agenda. How did it get placed on there? It's not a question of opinion,
I
a
think
question of
he's
fact.
asking a factual question.
Yeah, so how it got on the agenda is throughout the past prior months, we've all heard Victor had been working on getting quotes. The quotes were ready to get on the agenda, and they were placed on the agenda. So whether it went through Victor, the purchasing agent, the CFO, myself, everyone collectively placed it on the agenda. And it was placed on the agenda because Eric wanted the field done before August. That's why it was placed on the agenda, for you all to discuss whether or not you wanted to do it.
Thank you. Have you ever seen that done before in your time here? That something was placed on a consent agenda on bills payable and nowhere else on the agenda?
I believe this was on the consent, not on the bills payable. This was under the consent, was it not?
Under bills payable, I believe, over 3,500, and nowhere else on the agenda when I received my packet.
I don't remember. I honestly don't.
But do you remember that ever happening before, something like that?
Um,
Where there's no other resolution, that it was just placed on bills payable agenda? Just a question of fact.
Actually, you know what? I remember when we had the issue with the police motorcycle and you pulled it. I think that was the same situation.
How much was that, do you recall?
$65,000? I don't remember. No, maybe not. It's probably too much for a motorcycle. I don't remember.
Thank you, Donna.
It's a souped-up motorcycle.
It was expensive
It
motorcycle.
was. I remember you were upset about it.
Yes, can you imagine how upset I am now over this? As of this point, I still don't know if I should pay the bill. I don't know who ordered what to who. Do we pay for your cell phone?
What's the answer?
Yeah.
Committeeman
Information, yes.
Ms. Yar would like to
Yeah,
say something.
as far as the bill that you're questioning, and again, I'm not an attorney, but you all know, and T&M knows, unless you pass a resolution to do this, even if, and I did not by any means tell them to do this work, and I will, under oath, I'm telling you that on my grandmother. However, even if I did, they still don't have the authority to do that, and they know that. So therein lies where all this,
But again, this is really not supposed to be a debate.
No, I don't want to
Questions,
say, I'm
but
just saying, yeah.
My concern is, I've never ever seen this. There wasn't a resolution to do it.
Correct.
To me, and I'm not blaming you for anything, please. I want that. It somehow got on that consent agenda with bills payable. And I find that quite distasteful, certainly irregular, okay? Now, I'm not saying you did it. I want to be clear with that. But that concerns me. I've never seen anything like that in my time, and I don't believe it's happened elsewhere. One other question, if I can do it.
Sure.
Because we all are you're under oath, and I swear I'll be under oath if you want me to. Do we pay for your cell phone?
No.
You paid on your own, we never gave you a stipend?
No, you gave me a stipend, you don't pay for my cell phone. You gave me a
Okay.
stipend. All the employees receive stipends for their cell phones.
And all the emails back and forth with the town you have, or they're on your cell phone?
I have to object, this goes beyond the scope of our agreement.
It's a question of fact. I'm not asking an opinion. Does she have her cell phone? Because there might be data on that cell phone
Committeeman
that we could
Pascucci's
use.
asking about the existence of records. I think that would be a valid
Just for
question.
existence of-
I no longer have any Holmdel information on my
That's fair.
cell phone
That's fair.
once you cut me off and suspended me without pay.
Okay. Whether it's on,
Okay.
thank you. Whether
Sorry.
it's on a server or whatever,
No, I
you don't
mean,
have it.
but if there were, you have them all here, they're on the server here, whether or not they went to my cell phone.
What about text messages?
I have no text messages on my phone.
All right, but that's the same phone that we gave you money for. They would be on
I
that phone.
actually have a new cell phone.
But on that cell phone, if there were text messages between you and a committeeman or you and T&M, they would be on that phone? Was that the phone you used for business? The
No,
one we
I
gave you
text
money for?
messages. So I had a phone when I worked here that I used for township business. I no longer have that cell phone. And I never kept my text messages because I didn't have enough space. I'd delete them anyway.
But did you use that for township business?
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Donna.
Committeeman Crutelli.
Thank you.
Good evening, Donna.
Hi, Tom.
First, I'd like to thank you for coming tonight and being open and honest with the committee and the public. I appreciate that very much. It's on. I was thanking Donna for coming tonight and being open and honest to the public. I'd also like to thank you for the 6 years of service that you've given to Holmdel Township. One of my first orders of business when I was newly elected in 2013, the mayor asked us to hire a new business manager. And the four of us who were here at that time, which included Committeeman Bentempo and Committeeman Hines, took it upon ourselves along with someone else to take the lead on that. And I think we made a terrific decision. So I commend you for the 6 years of service that you've given us. Under your leadership, I just want to note that you have helped us restructure every department in this town to make it more efficient and to save the taxpayers money. You have guided us to invest in infrastructure, and over the last 2 years, we have exceeded all of our past infrastructure investments, and I thank you for that. You have managed to save the taxpayers millions of dollars, as the mayor has indicated in his opening statement. You've done all this in the last 3 years by maintaining a zero budget increase. So these things do not go unnoticed by myself. Last year as mayor, I instructed you that I want to accomplish 3 or 4 items over the course of the year, and you welcomed those, including hiring armed security guards to protect our children. You also helped me with the $2.5 million recreation commitment that I made. For 6 years, I was frustrated that we weren't investing in our youth, and you helped us find a way to do that. I appreciate that. This town is going to miss you. I'm going to miss you, and the residents are better that you were here for 6 years, and finding a replacement is going to be very difficult. So I appreciate everything you've done. I'm sorry you've had to endure the last 6 months of this. I have no questions for this witness, Mayor.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Best of luck, Donna.
Thank you. Good night.
We'll give Donna a minute, her and her attorney to leave, and then we will continue with the next part.
Right, so we're going to continue with the regular agenda, and thank you to Donna and her counsel. So we'll continue with the regular agenda, Mayor, which will be the consent agenda, item 6 in just a moment. And just for the public's benefit, that'll conclude those proceedings. And again, there is no public comment as part of the investigatory proceedings. There will be a public comment at the end of the meeting, just like any other public meeting.